My name is Hugh Fitzmaurice, and I'm a secondary school teacher for over 20 years in Dublin. And just introduce you to Moira.
Hello, my name is Maura O'Higgins. I'm a chaplain and a secondary school teacher in a DEIS school in Dublin.
So hello to everyone. Myself and Moira last March began Harvesting Our Wellbeing as educators. So it was an online forum for educators to come together, maybe between 5 and 7 to 8 educators, to have a conversation about how we are coping with education in the new normal. And we looked at questions over a 5-week period and with teachers, and had discussions about how we were coping with in the classroom and being back, or sorry, at the time being online, in education. So myself and Maura said that we're now back, thankfully, we're back in the classrooms, we're back in the schools, which is great, but things are very, very different. And we said that we'd like to have, just to share our journey with educators going forward and what's coming up for us in this new normal. So I'll just hand you back to Moira for a moment.
Yeah, and it's been a challenge going back. I've been thinking a lot about Jon Kabat-Zinn's 9 attitudes of mindful living, and the one that really resonates with me at this time is our capacity to be without judgment, because so much of what we're experiencing we can blame ourselves for and say I'm not good enough, but I am good enough. And once whatever I do without judgment, things there's a little bit less pressure. And he also talks about beginning again. And I'm reminded of Brendan Kennelly's poem, where he says that something invites us to begin again, and Jon Kabat-Zinn calls it a beginner's mind. And I love that we can bring that to this new experience, this completely new way of doing things in our new normal.
Absolutely, Moira. Yeah, I would agree with that about a beginner's mind, just being open to a new, fresh experience, because I found my first few days going back is quite restrictive, a lot of regulations around COVID, obviously going into kids with masks on the classroom, 25 masks in front of you, myself wearing a mask. It's like a, sci-fi novel you're going into. It's just, very surreal. So I found, that took, it is taking, it's a lot of adapting in that. And I suppose a certain anxiety I'd have in it, like just going back into that, into this, it's a different world. And like my classroom is gone, and this is the same for all the teachers in my class, my school, and junior classes have to stay in the same room. So it's challenging. So I found myself that the support of colleagues is really, really important. And I reached out to colleagues just to ask, I suppose, for, just being aware that this is very different and that we need to support one another more than ever. And just whether it's a conversation or saying hello or saying how we are and being authentic, because myself and Maura, we believe that the whole idea of harvesting well-being is being authentic, being ourselves, and metaphorically taking off the mask and being who we are, and just maybe having a conversation about how is this. So at times it's not easy, but I feel, the less judgment, the better. Like, I think the as Jon Kabat-Zinn, as you said, more about non-judgment, that's really, really important, that we to do the best that we can and support one another and be open to having a conversation about how we are. I think that will help a lot as we go into the classroom, and the more open we are, I think it'll benefit the students. I don't know what you think about that, Maura.
Yeah, no, you're dead right, Hugh. And it's funny, the door here opened behind me where I am. All classroom doors are open now. All office doors are open, and everything is more open in that sense. And I think that is going to ask of a new type of trust between us as colleagues, because everything is laid bare now. And yet that's happening, and at the same time there's this masking, compulsory masking of all of us, and that's really, really strange. And I have to say, when the sixth years came in last week, there was just this sense of despondency when you couldn't I couldn't hug them or be close to them, and they just met a wall of masks, and we met a wall of masks. And one of my colleagues commented, she said, if this is going to continue for this year, she said, I'm never going to see a face of a first year. And I thought, whoa, that's really shocking. I caught myself twice in tears last week, and that mask slipped because of the trauma of what I was experiencing back in work. And what I realized was, because I was able to connect with my tribe in work, and that's something that's really important for me to acknowledge, is that we don't all get on. And even with the new normal, it's not like we're all best buddies now. But finding the people that I can be my authentic self with, and remove my mask, my metaphoric, not my actual mask, I just to be able to say I'm vulnerable, I'm me, I'm my authentic self, and to remember to be without judgment, and also to remember that everybody else is in the same boat as me. A friend of mine shared this lovely expression with me. I'm not sure where it came from, but I am better than no one, and no one is better than me. And that really helped me, certainly in terms of well-being, coming back to work.
Absolutely. And so when you said it there more on that theme of vulnerability, like I think we all have that sense of vulnerability, and with the students not being able to see their faces, and then first years not being with their friends, maybe in new classrooms, gone from sixth class into a class where they're removed from some of their friends and they're in masks. So there's a big sense of that vulnerability, and the poet David White talks about the idea of robust vulnerability, that there's great power in it if we can take away the judgment and share how we're feeling, and I think one of the things I'm using, and I have used before, is mindfulness in the classroom, just making a space in the inner landscape, just a space to calm down, to breathe. And I was thinking, like, whether it's mindfulness or conversation in school, or authentic conversation, or yoga in the afternoons or something, just things like that to help us slow down, reflect on where we're going in this new normal would be very, very beneficial. I think that's we're all people, and a school is all about how we relate to one another. And I think now more than ever, if we're going to learn something with the new normal, is how do we relate? Getting away from the cliques and being more open to having a talk about how we feel, and out of that, I think it can really benefit us as educators, but also particularly the students, because I think the more at ease, and it's not easy, we feel going into classroom, the better it's going to help the students.
Yeah, and we're educators, we're professionals, and this is all in the context of the work we do. And I think what you've really hit the nail on the head about is that we need to be honest about our vulnerability, and yet to protect ourselves. And I think that spaciousness you talk about in the stillness is a lovely way of leveling the playing field and bringing us into that authentic space together. And yeah, and it's so simple, and it's short, and it's not like we're expecting ourselves to sit and meditate for an hour on a stool. No. It's just about constantly coming back to ourselves, to just being. And maybe on that note, Hugh, to conclude our conversation, if we just drop into stillness for a moment. Absolutely, as we do in our course.
Lovely. Thank you.
Thank you, Hugh.
Thanks very much, Maura. Thank you.